How's it going, guys? Super Jim here, and bringing you some survival mode gameplay from Modern Warfare 3, and this is the map Village, which is a pretty cool village set in Africa, I believe, and I don't know why, but I've been posting a lot of village maps lately. I've been posting a lot of Shino in Zombies, for example. It's more of a swamp than a jungle, but you know what I mean. Anyway, let's get started here. So, in this particular map, you start out with starting a pistol, and you want to take out as many of these guys as you can as quickly as possible. Try and get your rampage bonus going, because that way you'll get extra points to spend on upgrades and so forth. Now if you can, you want to try and get your kill streaks going as well, which is basically killing a certain number of enemy without getting hit. Now we're using the old model 1887 here, shotgun that you do pick up from the first few dudes, and this is a pretty beast weapon early on here. It has a super slow reload, that's the drawback to it, but it does take down the enemy pretty good. Now early on I just tend to hang around this area here for whatever reason. The market area or whatever it is, and there's a lot of cover here in this particular part of the map. Not that you really need it with these dudes. This is a pretty good map to get your achievement where you, I think it's stab 5 enemy in a row or something like that. Oh, so we get our rampage bonus, which is pretty sweet. It takes a little bit of getting used to not having the same point system as in Zombies, actually, but I guess when it comes to survival mode, it's probably more like a cross between Horde in Gears of War and combat training in Black Ops to me. Than it is to Zombies, but there's a lot of things I do like about it, and I'm really enjoying it. I find it's super addictive, actually, once you get stuck into a bit of survival mode. But I'll talk about a few things that I like so far in this, and that's the fact that the enemy usually spawn in different parts of the map, so often 3 different parts of the map. And what they'll do is, instead of coming directly to you following the shortest possible path, the way that Zombies would, they will try and flank you. So one group will come to the front, the other group will circle around the back, and that's pretty cool. It's much more realistic. And I mean, poor old Zombies, they don't have the brains for that sort of thing, maybe, but it does make it more challenging in survival. So at this point I'm not going and buying any weapons, but as soon as I get more than 7,000 in this map, I like to get a light machine gun, and I've got pretty much everything unlocked here, so the MG36 is a good choice, and especially if you can put a grip on it, so it's a little bit more accurate. And you want that for about round 6 to help you take down the choppers with the minimum of fuss when they come. But for my secondary weapon, what I'm going to be doing is just picking up the weapons that get dropped, rather than buying another, like an assault rifle or something like that. I tend to go for an assault rifle and the light machine gun combo, because the assault rifle will give you more mobility, which you definitely want in the later rounds. I have to get fairly close to these guys to take them out with the 1887. So I'm just hiding around the corner and waiting for them to poke their heads around. And then we've got one left here. Pretty feisty, that last one. Spraying and praying for dear life. Okay, so at round 5, We should have one more wave of enemy. So just something different. I'm going to head up the hill. And a few attack dogs. So as you guys will probably know, each map in survival mode has slightly different weapons, slightly different enemy, and slightly different things happen during the game. So it freshens things up, and there's just so many maps. Like every single multiplayer map you can use for survival mode. So it's really, really good. It's gonna keep me busy for hours and hours, that's for sure. But yeah, so far what I've been doing is concentrating on Village rather than I think the first map's Resistance, because there's a lot of gameplay out there on Resistance, and it's a pretty easy map even compared to this one, so I'd rather show something a little bit different to what's doing the rounds. Okay, so that's round 5. Now one of the things I like about this particular map is this large cave area at the back where you're basically able to take cover from the choppers in a large area under the caves there, and that'll become important later on in the higher rounds.
Intel shows multiple enemy rotor wings in your airspace.
Okay, so you get 2 helicopters here at round 6, and I'm just going to take them down with the LMG that I've got. They're pretty easy to take down. You can use Predator missile on them, but it's just a waste of money really. And if you take them out quickly, I think you get more points. So that's what I'm trying to do here. Of the LMGs, by the way, this weapon that I'm using does seem to have one of the quicker reloads, so that's why I've chosen it. They all pretty much hold the same amount of ammo. Now what I'm going to do now that I've got $6 grand is I'll go and buy a perk, and although I've got a sleight of hand available, I prefer to have this marathon, what's it called? Extreme conditioning, I should say. Extreme conditioning perk, because you want to be able to run and run a lot and run quickly in the later rounds, I find, rather than having to reload quickly. At least in solo you do anyway, because it becomes a little bit difficult to camp, at least in this map in solo, in the higher rounds, past about 25. Now the other thing you want to be really careful of is the friendly fire, because you can kill yourself with your own claymores and your own Semtex, not Semtex, C4 I should say, stuff like that, and I've gone down numerous times from things like that, or my turrets and so forth. So you want to be careful and and just watch out for that sort of stuff. So I'm getting a few claymores, a little bit of C4, and I'll be mainly using the claymores later on for when I get turrets, to protect the turrets. That's why I'm getting them now. So you get the suicide bombers now, and they're pretty good because you just have to hit them with a couple of bullets and they'll explode and take out whichever enemy are around them at the time, which is actually useful rather than being dangerous. And hopefully you can manage to get a kill streak happening with those suicide dudes. So as you can see, I've got a few of the enemy coming up behind me here. 4 of them, so I have to be careful. It's super useful having that UAV up the whole time through the game, so you can see where the enemy are at all times. I wonder if in the really high rounds whether that disappears or not. That's the thing with the survival mode. It's going to be interesting to see exactly how it gets difficult in the higher rounds. Like obviously I know you get like a number of helicopters and juggernauts at the same time and all that stuff, but if anything else happens, because in zombies it gets pretty same-ish after about round 40 or so. Okay, so just scavenging a bit of ammo here, and then we'll move on to round 9. So as you may realise, rounds 10 is usually like a challenging round, and round 5 and 10, like every 5 rounds, it's usually like something gets introduced to add a challenge. I'm just going to get past this suicide bomber before I get killed. And I've got some coming up inside the cave here as well as up this pathway, so I have to be careful. Beautiful. So there's plenty of cover in here as well, which is good. I mean, it gives the enemy cover. That's the drawback, but plenty of places where you can dodge around cover and get some protection. Okay, so I'll just mop up this last guy here, and we'll move on to wave 10. Just pick up some ammo as well. Now wave 10 is sort of like a boss wave, if you like. It's a little bit more challenging. You usually get either some air support or some juggernauts in this map coming in, and you get 1 juggernaut to start with at round 10. So we'll buy a sentry gun for later as well while we're here. Now you can take out the juggernaut with the Predator or things like that, like the C4 or whatever. But just going to go old school here and use the LMG to try and save some cash up for the later rounds. And with this type of juggernaut, you want to aim just below the visor there. So there you go, guys. That's part 1 of this Modern Warfare 3 survival mode video. Please rate, comment, subscribe, and look forward to a video 2 to follow shortly.